climate has a large impact on not only people, but animals as well. As the climate is changing and getting warmer, it poses a threat to the ecosystems, the landscape, and the biodiversity of the land. Since the Industrial Revolution started, there has been a drastic change in world ecosystems as they are either altered by humans searching for resources, or changed by natural processes such as the increase in droughts and floods and the migration of invasive species. Scientists have said that we have entered the sixth mass extinction since the emergence of life. This extinction has been named the Holocene extinction or the Anthropocene extinction because it is an ongoing extinction that is mainly caused by human-induced global warming and habitat destruction. Over half of the world's species have disappeared in the last 40 years, and that number is expected to rise over the next century. Examples of habitat loss caused by humans, which is resulting in massive biodiversity loss, include the destruction of rainforests, mainly the Amazon, where over 20% of the world's species live, and coral reefs, which are home to the most biodiverse ecosystem in the world. However, both of these habitats are dying. The Amazon is being destroyed through deforestation. Farmers want to use the land for their cattle, governments want to create highways through the forest for trading and travel, and companies want to commercially develop the land for soy, palm oil, and other exotic exports that are growing in demand around the world. Over the past 40 years, over 750,000 square kilometers have been destroyed, killing off species with it. Warmer temperatures and less rainfall have also greatly affected the biodiversity of the rainforests. Current climate models predict that the Amazon will get warmer and drier, almost changing into a savanna-like climate. Most of the species that live in the Amazon will not be able to adapt and will either have to move or they will become extinct. The current rate of extinction is 100 to 1,000 times the natural rate of extinction, and that will be devastating to the Amazon. Current species that are being most affected are the jaguar, macaw, Amazon river dolphin, black spider monkey, and the poison dart frog.
Coral reefs are also being destroyed at an alarming rate due to climate change. Bleaching occurs when the water temperatures get too warm for the zooxanthellae that live in the coral, so they leave, which strips the coral of its color and effectively kills it. With the coral dead, all the species that rely on the reef have to leave or they will also die. If the current warming trends continue, 90% of the coral reefs on this planet will be dead by 2050. However, it is not only tropical habitats that are being affected by climate change. The biodiversity of New England is also being disrupted by humans and warming. As the climate warms, the characteristic landscape of New England is in trouble. The majority of the Northeast is covered in forests. However, the types of trees that make up these forests are not suited for warmer weather. Thus, the forests will shift north, but not as quickly as the animals will, resulting in an entire ecosystem collapse that will leave stationary species completely vulnerable to this rapidly changing world. Pests like insects move faster than vegetation and will destroy new habitats. Pines, maple, and birch are the most common trees in the area, and they are under extreme stress from warmer temperatures, increased rainfall, and invasive species coming from the south, which are able to survive due to the lack of frost killing them off during the winter. Chestnut and elm trees have already been decimated by forest insects killing them off. The Asian longhorn beetle is one of the most common pests that have invaded the area and are now destroying forests all throughout New England.
In New England, the effects of climate change on biodiversity are already clearly visible as they affect regionally iconic species. For example, the Atlantic cod, of which Cape Cod derives its name, is threatened by climate change's lasting effects. As ocean temperatures respond to a warming climate, cod spawning as well as general survival is hindered due to the species being accustomed to mild ocean temperatures. Scientists predict that as water temperatures continue to warm, cod populations will increasingly struggle to survive in the Atlantic. Not only will this be a serious detriment to New England fisheries, but the removal of a key species in an aquatic ecosystem can wreak havoc and damage marine biodiversity. Meanwhile, on land, another species is facing an existential threat. Moose populations are on a rapid decline due to the emergence of winter ticks. As the climate warms, New England winters become shorter and milder, allowing for the tick population to flourish for a greater part of the year. The sheer number of ticks found on moose are able to drain their blood to an extent that calves die and adults are seriously weakened. It is estimated that about 50% of the moose population has declined since the 1990s in New Hampshire. Conservationists believe that the only way to protect the moose's survival is to severely impede climate change or even extend the moose hunting season to lower the moose population and thus lowering the ticks' dependence on moose.
So what can we do to help save our planet? We can reduce our carbon footprint by finding alternatives to driving. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, for every gallon of gas used, 24 pounds of carbon dioxide is released into the environment. Try using public transportation, riding a bike, walking, even carpooling can make a positive impact by limiting vehicle emissions. Being more conservative with water is another way to do our part to combat climate change. In a study by the Natural Resources Defense Council, approximately 116 million gallons of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere every year as drinking water is collected, distributed, and treated. To conserve water, try collecting and reusing rain runoff to water plants, fix leaking water pipes, take shorter showers, turn off the water while washing dishes and while brushing your teeth. Taking the steps to power your home with renewable resources like solar and wind power will also help to reduce your carbon footprint. Both are going to be cheaper alternatives anyway. Recycling also plays a significant role in the fight against climate change. According to the EPA, if our nation increases our recycling rate from the current level of 28% to 35%, we would reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 9.8 metric tons of carbon equivalent. Although some of these solutions may seem unavailing, if we commit to all or even just some of these simple lifestyle changes, we can start to make a difference in the fight against climate change.